So, Bill, since you were the one who asked for LeBron today, we'll go ahead and start off with you with your question.
Good afternoon, LeBron. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you sent a tweet this morning about the Kevin Porter Jr. moment that made its way around the internet, and there's been more on it since then with the announcer kind of explaining the mistake. And I just was curious if you had anything to add to your initial thoughts when you first saw the video and saw what was going around.
What was his mistake?
That he believed that his understanding was that, or excuse me, not his understanding. He thought in the moment that Kevin Porter Jr. was the son of Kevin Porter, who played for the Wizards, or excuse me, the Bullets in the
70s?
The 70s and 80s, yeah.
Which is Kevin Porter, the guy who played for the Bullets, that's 71 years old today, in which you would have had Kevin Porter Jr. when he was 50. Is that what we're talking about? So, okay, so I stand by my tweet and I stand by everything I said. So, okay, let's just say he thought that was the case. So we get scouting reports on players. And I know you guys from the media, y'all get memos and stuff from players and stuff before the game, right? Y'all get like packets and stuff when y'all come to the game and what's going on in the games, right? And I believe that I'm not a play-by-play person, analyst, but I believe that they do their due diligence as well, and they get their reports on teams that they're about to play, as long as their own team, right? So I was actually watching the game live last night when I heard it. And I waited. I didn't do it right away, as you've seen from my tweet. I was watching the game. So if that's the case, if I am a play-by-play announcer, right, and I'm covering a team in my local team. In his case, he's covering the Wizards. So he remembers the Kevin Porter who used to play for the Bullets, correct? The first thing I would have done, I would have said, oh, Kevin Porter Jr. is coming into town. Let me see if that's his son. I would have did that due diligence way before. And I think everyone on this call would have did the same thing. Tell me, am I wrong? Anybody? Okay, don't say anything. My second point. I watched the whole game. Not at one point did he ever reference, which he thought was Kevin Porter Sr., anytime when Kevin Porter Jr. was playing in that game. That's point two. Point three, if he didn't look for Kevin Porter Sr., thinking that was his son, I would have just been like, I would have looked at Kevin Porter Jr. and saying, let me see if this is his dad that played for the Bullets in the 70s. You would have known that. That's point three. Point four, what he said, no matter if he thought that I was his dad or not, was so insensitive in the words that he used, that we know the words that he used. I don't even want to repeat it. It's not even something that should be ever said. That's four. And last, because you guys know that I calculate everything. Last, me personally, when Isaiah Thomas from Washington State was coming up in the ranks, when I heard Isaiah Thomas, the first thing I thought about was the great Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons. So I Googled this of that kid in Washington to see if they had any relations. And I was like, oh, is this his? I thought like for a second, I was like, is that his son? No. Well, come to find out, I did my research. His dad, Magic Johnson fan, lost a bet during the finals. And his best friend said, if they lose to the Pistons, you got to name your son Isaiah Thomas. Go further, I played against a guy early in my career named Mike James. They played for the Raptors. They played for a lot of teams. And then Mike James, that's just been in and out of the league over the last few years, same name. I actually looked that up and thought, do they have any resemblance? Do they have any relations? No, they don't. This is not just like in basketball. This is in multiple sports. Patrick Surtain Jr., that's now with the Broncos. I did my due diligence on that. I was like, oh, wow, that's the great Patrick Surtain. That's his son. Ashanti Samuels, that's here, local, that plays for the Chargers, Junior. Oh, his dad was a monster with the Eagles, but I did my research. And Marvin Harrison Jr., that's at Ohio State right now. I had to go and make sure that was the great Marvin Harrison that we know from Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison all those years. Is that his son? I don't want to hear that excuse. Could he have made a mistake? Absolutely. But in our job, in our field, as professionals, we are in a professional league. You got to do your due diligence and do your job all the way to the point where, why did he even say that at the end of that game anyways, those words? So I'm not taking back nothing I said. Nothing at all. I think I explained that pretty good.
Bill, do you have a follow-up?
I suppose, yeah. So LeBron, I was wondering if you saw Kevin Love's follow-up tweet, and if you kind of come down on it a different side from what Kevin said. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. What did he say?
Do you mind if I read it to you real quick? He just said after the statement came out from Glenn Consler, he said, "Healthy discussion to be had here. Context is everything. I know Glenn is well respected within the league. Our blink reaction as players was to protect one of our own." So that's what
we're going to continue to protect our players. And I'm not taking the respect factor is there. And they said he's supposed to be very smart guy, right? Is that what everybody's saying? The guy's a very smart guy. So if you're a very smart guy, I believe you should be able to do your homework on situations. We're not talking about him saying something about me or saying something about I'm gonna just speak from my point. The kid Kevin Porter Jr. has already been placed with a label in this league already. And we don't know what can trigger. We don't know what triggers can happen at all. So if you're doing your homework on any one of these kids that's in this league, that word that he used for that kid to make that game-winning shot, that sentence that he used, no matter if he knew if that was his dad or not, should have never been used in the first place. Never been used. And if you go and just look at if you know the history of this kid's dad, you can't sit here and tell me that those words, it's just a direct correlation. Come on, come on. I'm not saying that this guy, I never met the guy. I don't know him. I pray for him, like I said in my tweet. But I can't let that ride on the behalf of a kid that looks up to me. Kevin Porter Jr. looks up to me, and it's my obligation to make sure that he knows that he has my back. I mean, that I have his back. That's just a simple fact.
Kyle?
LeBron, I want to change subject. It is an interesting subject, but I do have a different question here.
I can answer any question.
Yeah,
I'm good. Don't worry about it. It's
really
fine.
Interesting, really interesting discussion. But just, I think just with your play recently, it seems like you're making a case to kind of be included again in the MVP discussion. Does that matter to you at this point in your career? Does it matter more? Does it matter less that your achievements are up there with the best of some of your peers in the NBA?
Well, I think when you are placed in the MVP conversation, that means that your team is winning games, and you're playing at a level that's helping them win games. So if my name continues and my name starts to be in the MVP conversation, then I'm happy about it in the sense that that means the Lakers are winning basketball games. And that's what I want. That's all I care about. I know what I bring to the table every night. I know what I'm capable of doing every night, but I want that to result in wins. And that's just always been my mindset in this league.
Dave?
Well, I'd like to get back to that conversation. I find it interesting also. I'm just curious, when you were saying no place in the game, is that you calling for his job? And
I'm
if
just
so,
saying, no, I'm not calling for his job. I don't, he's not my employee.
okay.
I have enough employees. I got 145 employees at Spring Hill. I got to worry about those guys. He's not my employee. I'm saying if we're in a profession where it is your job to do your due diligence. We got enough people out here that's giving false narratives and false statements we got enough of that. But in our game, in our integrity, in the NBA, the 30 teams, the beat writers, the players, the coaches, the play-by-play guy, it is our job to make sure we do the best to our ability to speak the facts. It can't be, sometimes you don't have the ability to have a slip up. And you can make mistakes and come back from them, but sometimes you don't have the right to have a slip up. I believe that was a slip up. Not saying I'm calling for his job, because I'm not, but that was a slip up. And sometimes we hear the word, I apologize, and we just move the hell on. We just move on. Oh, he apologized, we move on. She apologized, we move on. Oh, we just move on quickly. I just don't always see it that way. But I'm not calling for his job. I'm not calling for his job.
I just wanted to clarify that, and obviously you're justified in your stance. I know you have subscribed to the notion of progress over pride in the past.
Absolutely.
Could this be a growing moment, for Glenn and even for Kevin, even though he didn't do anything to have his name involved there,
Kevin,
make a nice play.
That was the greatest moment for that kid in his young NBA career so far. Why are we talking about this?
Right.
Why are we talking about this? Like, this kid made a game-winning step-back three. Why are we talking about this? It's unfortunate that this kid, who literally was sent home not a couple days ago, we paint pictures over this kid already, and now he has to deal with this. Like, come on, like, it has to be more. It has to be more accountability. That's all.
Yep.
I mean, pride over progress. It took me years. I already know about it.
Progress over pride.
Or progress over pride. Yeah, it took me years to get to that. But I'm not 21 anymore either. I'm 37. This kid's 21 years old.
You mentioned your age this time, not me.
Yeah, I know, right? But at 21, you don't have the mental capacity sometimes to take progress over pride. You do not. None of us at 21.
Yep.
Last question, BT.
What's up, LeBron James?
What's going on?
I'm gonna ask you a question about. I'm gonna stick to the basketball thing.
That's cool too.
I live that life you're talking about.
Yeah.
With you playing so many minutes, with AD being out of the last couple of games, what's your approach in practice? What are you trying to get accomplished, knowing that you have to preserve your body?
I'm still just sharpening my tools, sharpening my game. I come in a couple hours before before practice and get my work in. Either in the training room, weight room, and then I get on the court for about 30 minutes before practice start, and I just sharpen, my game on every facet of the game that I'm doing throughout the game. Either if it's the pick and roll game that I'm in a lot more now, meaning I'm setting the pick and rolls. Me shooting the three, me in the low post. So I'm just kind of sharpening my tools, not doing too much on, as far as like on my legs. I'm trying to stay off my legs as much as I can. And that's that's practice days, that's off days, that's any day. But just always, I'm still sharpening my game because I don't want to get out of rhythm. Even when we have 2 days in between, we had an off day yesterday, we had a practice day today. I want to stay in a good rhythm going into tomorrow night. So, just staying with it. Just staying with it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.